North Node, South Node, we doing the do. North Node in Taurus, a review from January 2022 till now, which is what, July 2023, before the North Node goes into Aries and it meets the South Node in Libra. I want to really talk about the North Node in Scorpio. I'm sorry, the South Node in Scorpio and the North Node in Taurus. Before I go any further, hit the thumbs up, hit the likes button. Ding! All right, this is your Astro Shaman. We are generating an economy of harmony, leveraging human design and genetic astrology. Ladies and gentlemen, definitely check out the retreat right here. Retreat gang. Look at that sexy. Ooh. That's Eileen, the Mexican Bruja, and myself. All right, we are going to be on a retreat right here in Guadalajara, Mexico. This is the Sacred Innovators Retreat. If you are somebody looking to get out of that 9 to 5 job mindset, you really want to focus on entrepreneurship. First off, talking Taurus North Node, this is the original foundation from January 2022 till now, July 2023. Okay, all retrograde lasts about a year and a half. I want to break a little bit about what retrograde is about, but you know, stability, gaining your own foundation, your own sense of self-worth, okay, really your own money, generating and earning your own money. A lot of the themes in the Taurus North Node, and this is something where when we look at Sacred Innovators for the retreat coming, we want to help other people to monetize their business and get their junk booming. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So it's like I'm going to not just give you the blueprint, but go ahead, come meet us live in person. And the things that we're doing, ironically, have nothing to do with the business part. It's the 8 weeks of mentorship after the retreat. All right. We always run, when we run a retreat, we always run 8 weeks worth of follow up mentorship, things that we learn in retreat, but also learning the different integrations of masculine and feminine, how to work through crisis, okay, which the South Node Scorpio was teaching us about. So we'll get into that. Now, here's the North Node in Taurus. So when we think Taurus, you got to think a couple keywords. Forgiveness is probably the largest on the docket today for the North Node of Taurus because of your past life dealing with so much trauma, prostitution, never finding your own sense of worth outside of a connection with another person who always had more power than you. South Node Scorpio people always dealt with people who had more power than them. Okay, they never found their self-worth for a Taurus. They never got to say, look, this is just what I value. This is what I want. This is what I respect about myself. It's always about the other. It's like, here's what I respect about you. Here's how I can support your emotional needs. Here's how I can support you so that you can make more money. Money is a huge thing for this North Node and Taurus because the South Node for Taurus, you understand, they never had their own monetary assets. They never had any assets that they owned. Taurus is ownership, meaning coming from the South Node, we're coming from a place where there was no ownership with the South Node and Scorpio. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Somebody in power, but also who had power, but also was very compulsive and obsessive of whatever the tendencies that they and the tactics that they use to psychoanalyze the Taurus, okay, their Taurus stable partner. They would psychoanalyze them and find ways to provide what they need so that the Taurus never had to find that need for themselves. And what happens is this really hurts Taurus tremendously. And this is what the North Node was teaching us in Taurus this year. It's like, look, you never had to supply for yourself. You never had to buy anything, but you did get a lot of things. You may not have gotten exactly what you wanted, but you got it what you needed, without a doubt. And oftentimes the Scorpio would have took what they wanted, what they desired, by force, by storm, okay, and also impatiently. In a past life with South Node Scorpio, we would have likely merged with the person to the point where you and the other person, they don't know who they are without each other. And Taurus is like, look, I'm all about, holding on to a positive image, holding on, fixed sign energy of Taurus, to a positive image about what am I worth? What do I find valuable? Okay. And so when we find what's valuable, they like to hold on to that. But the difference is when you have a South Node and Taurus, anybody who has this as a natal placement, second house or eighth house, or North Node Taurus, South Node Scorpio, South Node eighth house, North Node second house. Whoever has this in your past life, like a lot of times your partner would have really used inappropriate, and this is the key word, because Scorpios are intense, yes, but it's about inappropriate intensity. It's about staring you down with that scorpionic depth gaze to lower you, to humble your power, to remind you that you have no power without me. And that's what Scorpio does. And so we really would have had a lot of, over the year and a half, um, many of our past life incarnations come up. And this is what's difficult, because it's not always people you've met in this life. It's people that you may have met in past lives, where maybe you met some people in this life who reflected an instance. Okay. And it's not even having somebody assigned to you date. This could be a boss. This could be a mother. Okay. This could be a sister. This could be a random person in the street who just made you feel less than, and really checked you and triggered you to show you where you're not stable. This whole year and a half really checked us all and showed us where we're not stable within our self-worth, but also within our monetary gains and financial stability. It showed us where we are exactly not financially stable. It showed us where we do not take a step-by-step process. The North Node in Taurus wants us to take a step-by-step process to wealth. It also put, in the last year and a half, us in this space, in this bubble of, make sure you go earn your own money. What you'll also notice, and I've seen this, for example, like I'm using an iPad adapter right now. I had to buy this one. And prior to this, like, I visited my dad and he brought me an adapter, and it stopped working. And when it did, it reminded me and it showed me, like, yes. Because first off, I have a North Node in the second house, and I have a South Node in the eighth house. And so it showed me, like, look, you can't rely on the resources of anybody else. Anything that we did in the last year and a half is likely during the times when Uranus is in Taurus, and we made some conjunctions, especially with the North Node. It's not likely those times, and it could be anywhere. It could be with Venus. It's likely those times where you lost, because eighth house, it really can speak about loss. Now, what the North Node was also teaching us where is how to become more persistent, how to embody a persevering energy. But key word is to persevere in comfort, to persevere in simplicity. This North Node taught us in Taurus how to abide by the physical senses more than the spirits and the metaphysical energy through merging and bonding with another, whether a spirit or something else otherwise, especially within sexual relations and interactions. It was all about a soul bond, but there wasn't much space for you to focus on what is the sensual pleasure of this sexual relationship, to just be able to just be touched and not penetrated. So this is the rise you've seen within Tantra, okay? I don't even want to say rise, because Tantra has been around, but you see the mainstream start to really introduce Tantra, because it introduced a more sensual, embodied pleasure, where past life you might have honestly been somebody's concubine. I don't even know what the hell the word concubine, somebody's prostitute, somebody's hoe, somebody's slut. And I'm using these words on purpose with intention, because Taurus North Node, you didn't have the value to say anything different. Like, you just was like, well, I'm a hoe, I'm a slut, I'm a prostitute, I'm a concubine. And it didn't even bother you, because it's like, well, because I'm this, like, I now get my housing. Now I have food on the table. Now I have money from somebody else, and they were able to control you through desires. They would recognize your desires, and you would never have a chance to understand, well, what do I desire? So the North Node really got us aligned with what's our desire, and also having to really use that throat chakra and speak up. I got some notes here. Major thing that happened during the North Node Taurus was more awareness of our boundaries, and not just our boundaries, but the boundaries of other people. A combination of both, because when you're in eighth house, you're talking self-know, past life. You're talking merging to the point where there is no separation. You can't be in a relationship as an individual and maintain your individuality and maintain your own sense of self-worth. Your sense of self-worth is the partner. Without them, you die. They're your life support. And what this does is it really puts people in a crisis energy. Scorpio really is tremendously occupied, preoccupied even with crisis energy, crisis support, and wants to be there with immediacy and supporting that partner. But at the same time, it also is the one creating crisis by speeding things up, going after it with a certain sense of intensity and vigor, that allowing our nervous system to feel a certain sense of comfort and stability, peace and tranquility was not really a part of the life. So this North Node, we had to fight in the last year and a half by not fighting, by not manipulating, by not being judgmental, not trying to project our needs onto somebody else of what that person needs. Because what Taurus North Node does a lot of times is they want to look at the other person and be like, I know what you need, I know what you desire. And likely it was misaligned because life with this particular nodal axis, okay, of where fate was going, all of us together, doesn't really support that behavior. If it was the vice versa, other way around, a North Node was Scorpio and a South Node was Taurus, then it would be supported. But in this way, it's like, look, Taurus North Node, a lot of times we would have realized where we made judgments thinking that we know what somebody else wants instead of asking them, what do you want? And that a lot of times got us into some trouble. I've seen this with myself, thinking I know what people were thinking and being like, okay, look, I'm going to supply this, and then finding myself very much let down. Very much like, what the hell happened? Where did I go wrong? So another thing that happens on the North Node in Taurus, nature, a lot of connection with nature. People started hugging trees. You start realizing that trees communicate, you know? We all know this. The trees have, when another tree is dying 10,000 miles away, it can send, I think it's mycin or something. You notice with the mushrooms, they can send, healing support, salt water to other trees. It can transport vital nutrients to uplift this plant. So when we now make connections and put our feet in the dirt, we start hugging trees. I've been hugging, I know in 2020, I was hugging trees in the quarantine. I was ahead of the game. But again, at the same time, I have this North Node in Taurus, right? Um, it's about taking one step at a time. It's about really, there's a certain sense of loyalty that we needed to learn and gain in this. Like, we require a certain sense of loyalty, but we also started having to learn, where do we merge with other people too quickly? Where do we get into a relationship like this? Taurus doesn't do that. It's about getting into a relationship slowly, really staying up front. Here's what I need. The consistent theme with this Taurus energy all over and over is, here's what I need, here's what I want. And not what the other person wants, especially not acting on what that other person wants, thinking that you're going to get what you want, because in the past life, that's how it worked. If I can support you in this way, you support me in that way. So I don't have to focus on what I don't have. You're going to give it to me. And I don't have to even think about it, meaning I never align with my sense of worth. Now, what we also realized this year is we have to learn to let go of being nosy as hell. Just being nosy, being in other people's business. I know one time, like, I had a friend of mine that I know was suffering. I know my friend was suffering. And I took the liberty to go into their dream space with no permission. It was the dumbest thing I've ever done. Dumbest thing I've ever done. I was like, oh my God, I took like 4 days. I hit, an energetic hit. Because life was like, Pernell, you're not here to do that this life. Now understand, I also have this nodal placement, and we were in the transit of the North Node in Taurus. That was not comfortable to my nervous system. That was not inviting. There was no pleasure involved in that process. There was no simplicity. It was very much a shock to my system. So we have to really watch for putting ourselves into crisis situations, because in our past life, that's what we've done. Another big major one is using overreactions, okay, to get a response out of somebody, or using an overreaction to continue further control that person, or taking one part or something that just needs a little bit of tweak here and destroying the entire thing, eliminating the entire thing, saying, look, we're going to phoenix, ash, burn, rebirth this whole thing. Taurus doesn't do that. It says, look, there's this one little piece I need to eliminate. Let me take this one step at a time. Let me just slow down, be the mountain, watch this change through a full 28-day lunar cycle, and realize that's what I need to do. And now it's like everything that I built prior, it all still sustains, it all still stands. And so I may have got stuck right here. I already built all this foundation. I got stuck right here, sure, but I'm just going to stay here until I understand how to methodically solve this problem in a very reasonable and practical way. That's how we do it. Boom, boom, boom. Versus Scorpio, which is like, let's tear it all down. And I know I've attracted people in relationships like this that just tear it all down. Everything, let's start from new. It's completely not necessary. Really learning to let go of abusing power in this particular year and a half. Where have you abused power? Where have you took the liberty to, look at your staff or your employees and really put them in a chokehold, leave them in this space of unknowing so that you can shock them, put somebody in a position where it's like, oh, you don't even know if you're going to have a job still. Using power tactics like that to make you want to work harder, put you in a space of nervousness, like you got to do this, you got to push, you got to force, you got to. By you not knowing, you want to hold on to that job. They're both fixed energies, right? One of the major things about this is about validation. Okay, make sure you don't ever what the yeah, yeah. Make sure you don't base your sense of self-worth on what other people think or believe about you or how they want to position your worth. Don't value yourself how somebody else values you. Stand firm in yourself and say, this is how I value myself. And you have to honestly, really, and truly communicate this, especially in your sexual relationships. Um, but you also have to voice this. Taurus has some energy in the throat chakra. You have to voice this. What's unique about me? You can no longer be mediocre. And how you validate yourself. Now, what's important about this as well, as you learn to better validate yourself, you must also learn how to honor and respect other people and not validate them, but if they say this is what matters to me, you have to honor that boundary. Because the North Node Taurus has taught everybody boundaries. Everybody learned boundaries this year. Whether the easy way or the hard way, you learned that boundary. You understand now what you are not going to do and what you're not going to cross, as well as who you're not, and most importantly, key thing with the North Node Taurus, most importantly, how others will not cross your boundaries because you know what they are. Because prior in past life, Taurus never had boundaries. They were never aware of boundaries. The boundaries wasn't even a word for them because they merged. There was no such thing as a separate. They merged. Okay. Um, I'm trying to see. Oh, this is a big one. Resistance to what other people need. You gotta let go when you know what somebody else needs. Like, don't hold on to it. Don't be so resistant to giving. Don't, withholding is a very toxic feminine trait. To withhold. This a lot of times is definitely gonna happen in the sexual space, in the space of pleasure. Like, I'm gonna hold sex from you because I know you want sex. So if I hold sex from you, you're gonna do whatever I want you to do. And then I give you a little tease. I give you a little nip slip. I mean, it's a joke now, but it ain't a joke when you pass life, right? Very traumatic, very traumatic past life. That's why these people come back and they're born to live a very simple life. How you know what to do with this is if your nervous system ever feels like it's in fight or flight mode, you know that you're not comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, you know that you shouldn't be doing whatever you're doing. That's the very key. That's the simplest key term. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Bang, 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 bang. If you're very uncomfortable with something, you know that something is out of alignment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my wrap up of the North Node in Taurus and the South Node being in Scorpio. All right, we've come from the North Node in Gemini. For simplicity, that was about letting go of certain self-righteousness and really opening up your mind to different opinions and travel and relocating yourself in your local environment and just being more open to hearing other people speak and realize that you don't know it all. And by doing that, you allowed yourself to collect and obtain more data. We went to the North Node, and a lot of this was again like get stable within yourself, make your own money on top of that. Okay, big thing about your own earning potential. Have your earning potential be separate because now you can't be so simply controlled, where you now have the opportunity to share. And by us putting our values in place, what happens is we actually start repelling, okay, as the feminine energy can do. It can repulse the energy that's out of alignment, that don't respect your lines, your boundaries, that don't respect what your sense of loyalty is, okay, that don't respect your persistency, the way you take one step at a time, the way that you've chosen to forgive. This is a major transit. The most important thing, the number one in this transit was forgiveness. We were asked to learn how to forgive, okay? Where if we don't forgive, that energy getting stored in our body. And Taurus is like, look, this makes my body uncomfortable. This is a disturbance to my nervous system. So now you have to do physical massage. Like I think I just booked a massage for tomorrow because I'm like, yo, look, I got stuff. I got to get a little extra stuff in my body. We're getting ready to finish this transit up. Let me get a massage going. Okay. Yeah, by you doing that, you're repelling the people away that don't respect your boundaries, that don't respect what patience means for you, what comfort, what pleasure means for you, what sensuality is for you. And simultaneously, you don't know how to give yourself that self-soothing mechanism of, this is my work, this is what I find valuable. I can express that, and I can express that without making it become a traumatic crisis moment. I don't have to sit there and push it over the top. I can express that and then say, hey, look, now it's your turn to make some space. My turn to make some space for you. I express my boundary, my needs, what I want. How about you? What would you like? What would you desire? And asking that rather than assuming and trying to fulfill their desire or their want or their need based off of your projection, which is likely something trying to you tell yourself, this is what I need. Major. Major. And that's what's beautiful. Now you start inviting him. Taurus is a very magnetic sign. So is Scorpio, of course. And they start drawing in like the law of attraction. They attract exactly all their wants, their needs, because they set and put major focus on this is what I need. This is my worth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take one step at a time. We're getting ready to walk into the North Node in Aries. Uh, Hannah's elsewhere, and myself are getting ready to do a live on the North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra, as well as it going through the Grand Cardinal Cross between Capricorn, Pluto, and Capricorn, and the Sun, all at 29 degrees. So stay tuned for that. If you want me to put a video out about the North Node in Aries and some predictions on that, go ahead and drop the Aries symbol below. And if it's not that, and you really rock with this message and you find your sense of self-worth in this last year and a half, drop the Taurus symbol or the bull, because we stubborn as hell, and that stubbornness has awarded us, some gains, some true and efficient gains, like really showing us like this step by step, like, oh snap, like I'm, really learning that money is not the root of all evil, that money is a beautiful thing. Money allows me to supply myself, because in this life, with this Taurus North Node and the South Node Scorpio, other people were not here to supply you, and you're here to learn that lesson. So drop the Taurus or the bull if you really said, I did it. Okay? I did it. I know I did. So let's get it, baby. All right. Hit the thumbs up and the like button. Join our retreat. Check us out, ladies and gentlemen. Eileen, the Mexican Bruja, myself, here in Guadalajara, Mexico. There's an application in the chat. Go ahead and apply. Tomorrow, I have an interview with somebody. I'm going to leave the person's name out. It is a gentleman. All right. Which is dope. I really love having some men in here. And if you're watching this, you're the other male watching this, you know who I'm talking about. There's two of y'all. One I didn't even say nothing to, because I'm like, I want to see what you do on your own. And then another one I said something to, because I'm like, look, God told me to. So keep it that simple. That said, we're running a retreat. Check it out. Check the application. Bow. This is your Astro Shaman Pernell Bobby. We're generating an economy of harmony. Harmony. Leveraging human design and genetic astrology. I love you.